I would say, however, is that the way that we measure advertising is typically wrong, right? So typically what we do is measure sentiment, right? Did this advertisement change belief or sentiment? But we don't actually understand the connection between sentiment and behavior, right? And so as a consequence, advertisers, the people who create advertising, ad agencies, creative agencies, et cetera, are not held accountable for the right thing. They're not actually held accountable for driving behavior. They're held accountable for, sort of perception shift. And the problem is that perception shift, A, it's notoriously hard to measure. B, it can be very temporary. And so, I think if you're looking to somebody to create advertising and you're holding them accountable for the right thing, right? You're holding them accountable ultimately for the behavior that they drive. That's less bad. But I think there's a lot of intermediate measures, and this happens not just in advertising, this happens in lots of things. I think that NPS, I hate NPS, right? For those that don't know, NPS is Net Promoter Score. And basically you ask people, how likely would they be to recommend your service or product to somebody else? And then, you take scored on 1 to 10 and you take, and then you come out with a score. And this score is the thing that companies hold themselves accountable for. They talk about their NPS in their stock reports and, they're compared between companies and blah, 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 blah. What a stupid measure, right? What a stupid measure. It's not a measure of whether people actually did recommend anything. It's just, would you recommend something 1 to 10, right? It's not, if you look at the research, it's not very predictive of behavior. There are lots and lots of things that I feel generally good about, but I don't know that I necessarily recommend to other people, right? Simply because they just don't how likely are you to recommend toothpaste? That's just not a thing that would ever come up in conversation.
In a conversation, yeah.
Right. Whereas I don't know, recommending this show I just watched, I recommend, media, entertainment things all the time, right? There are weird biases. It's a terrible measure, right? Yeah. Measure behavior. At the end of the day, measure behavior, because behavior is the thing that matters.